Welcome to the Dragon's Tome. This is episode 121 of Dragon Magazine. We're going through every one chronologically. We're up to 121 of these bad boys. It's May 1987. My name's Rob.
I'm Jack.
I'm Chopper.
And yep, we're in 87 of May. And as you can tell by this cover, this one's all about the OA. It's
very bright, and I enjoy the look of this cover.
Yep, we got ninjas, we got samurai, we got castles, which is a big thing in this issue. We'll get to it. But
spoilers.
It is Jim Holloway. This is who did this cover. It looks fun. It's a fun cover.
It's a good painting. I mean, it almost looks digital to me, but
we know that's not true.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
I'm sure we'll get there. If
there's the right amount of fingers, so it's not AI.
I was gonna say if Dragon Magazine was around today, every cover would be done by AI.
Ooh, that's a scathing commentary.
I'm gonna go on record too, because I always make mention of this, that I feel like everyone is appropriately proportionate.
You're really obsessed with that.
That's your bugaboo. Yeah, you are yeah.
It's true. Nice cover, but anything else to say about said cover?
Mm-mm.
Fiery.
No. It is. It looks good. I mean, it's very eye-catching.
It is indeed. Pat, we'll start with you. Let's get on to some articling. I know you have tons. I know you love this one.
Yeah.
I think a couple weeks ago we discussed. You were just randomly said how bad this this issue was.
You were reading ahead, and that
says
does not bode well.
All right, so for my first ad, we're going to go to page 28.
He's very sad about that.
Yes.
The deadliest
perfume.
That's one of mine. This is going to be a quick episode.
Uh-oh.
Here, let me just...
I took this one because I really thought that no one was going to take this article.
One.
I got quite a few. It's all good.
We will.
I do have I have 7 ads, so we'll be all right.
I said, if you're playing in the setting of Car Tour, then this article is right up your alley. I said, any wizard or alchemist class can use this article on how to make the dusts from all the different lotuses, from the deadly black lotus to the clairvoyant-inducing blue lotus.
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's a whole harvesting process they go through. I guess you got to harvest it after you pick it. You have to harvest it within 2 days, or it dies and you can't use it at all. There's several kind of different lotuses, yellow, red, each one giving you a certain thing. But one thing I did notice is that throughout all the lotus dusts, roughly at the end or somewhere in the middle, it says if you keep it, the chance of death increases with more continual usage.
Well, once you got riding that dragon,
so
you're going to hell.
Yeah. So once you start using that L, it goes downhill from there.
Yep. Don't be smoking that L.
You got anything to add, Jack?
2 things. Why did they change the font when they went the properties of Lotus Blossoms and Dust in, and then to Oriental Adventures? Was that a conscious choice? And 2, John P. Brown, you did a almost Ed Greenwood-esque level of, hey, these are the things, this is the stats, and that's a compliment in my books, where he said these are the things, and then wrote out what they were in concise, which I find now with Roger Moore as the editor is the go-to way to operate. And it made this article, which, could have been overblown, could have been,
this could have drug out. This could have been like
2 pages with
this could have been the Stone article.
5 banger uses for this mythical plant that is in Oriental Adventures.
I agree with you. It's concise and to the point. You read it and you're like, yes, I understand. This makes perfect sense. I could use this here.
And
yes.
it's just all written out, so you don't have to find the information. Oh, what's the Black Lotus do? Oh, there it is. I'll read what the Black Lotus does.
It
Yeah.
was
Yeah, some people format it more correctly than others for sure. That was Pat's. Jack, do you have a next article then?
well.
It's going to be a short episode.
Short episode. We're gonna go to because I know I'm stealing Rob's because he's got now
It'll be short because he's going to pass out.
he's got a new love. Rob, like I introduced him and he's now taking a fancy to
Guess we're told?
the game Wizards on
Yeah,
page
This
12.
is definitely one of my articles. Yeah.
I didn't know that going in, but
That's all
I thought maybe I would be able to keep these as my own sacred. But it looks like Rob is
okay.
coveting thy neighbor in the game Wizards. So by David Zeb Cook, he's the one who's taken upon himself to volunteer for making the second edition of D&D that I think people of our age was the game that they really fell in love with. But this is the proto discussion of it. And what this is in particular is a follow-up to the article he had written about what he had thought he wanted to do with the second edition. And this is the write-in responses of people. Now he says all North America, all across the world, he was getting letters, and at the time it would have been letters, about what he had written about what his thoughts going forward were going to be.
Well, especially since you wanted to murder some very special character classes that people really took offense to.
Yes, I'm not going to go through all of these, but there's a couple
I will.
that. Okay, well, then we can double team this as a. The first one, many of your statements. This is the one that I think set the tone for the article, so I'm going to particularly mention this one. Many of your statements, meaning Zeb Cook, sounded biased and predisposed to following your own inclinations, led me to wonder if my thoughts in the matter will be considered or autocratically swept aside. Signed, Laura L. Heilman. First of all, Laura, put away the thesaurus. I've been drinking. Second of all, someone has to take the lead on this. Someone has to
Make decisions.
And to lash out, I guess, like Rob said, he made some bold choices in the first iteration of this article. And Mr. Cook goes on to say, like, yes, I had to make some of these decisions and be forward and transparent about it. But he said, I also asked for your opinion. So it's not a unilateral thing. So I think it set the tone for the rest of the article about how he's dealing with, it looks like 10 different people writing in.
Suggestions.
Some of them are amalgamations. Like some of them are like multiple people put in, but some of them are like from particular people. And it's an interesting read. Sometimes I'm thinking, oh, you sweet summer child, I know what second edition was, so you're way off base. And some of them I'm like, oh yeah, I can see your point why you would say that, but
well, I think
Rob,
even Zeb Cook's way off base, and some we know eventually turns into second edition. Like a lot of this is stuff he's like, I'm definitely not doing that, and then no, that's definitely in second edition.
he does say it's not in theory thing right now. We've passed the like the broad strokes version. Like we're not on the whiteboard spitballing anymore. We're
actually writing. Yeah.
But like Rob just said, there's some things that he's like, well, this is where we're heading, and we know it doesn't.
Yeah. Hindsight's interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what made the article interesting for me.
Yeah.
Personally,
that's all these articles are interesting about that with the hindsight. I will hit on all the salient points that I saw. First of all, he says that 1E wasn't perfect, and I said, don't let Gygax hear that. But yeah, he was also
fire him.
Yeah, that's true. I think he was contemplating format, which was interesting. He mentions at one point, he says it could be a three-ring binder or a one book with everything in it. Well, three-ring binder, we know comes back in the Monstrous Compendiums.
Yep, he got his way with the three-ring binder.
Or somebody did. But, yeah, I'm glad that imagine the rules were in that binder, because those pages fell out like they were fucking, it was nothing.
It might have been better at being a three-ring binder the way they used the bindings.
Well, that's true. In the end, it was the same difference. But, yeah, I found those Monstrous Compendiums. I ripped every single one of those holes the moment you put it in there. He's trying to make it upgradable to avoid a third edition. Obviously, we know third edition happens, and third edition 3.5 is what Pathfinder becomes, and it really gets overblown at that point, because the game really changes with 3.5, or 3 and 3.5, so...
Yeah, I think between 3 and 3.5 is where it really takes...
That's where, like he actually mentions proficiencies and stuff at one point too, because somebody doesn't want the game to be all about proficiencies, and I'm like, that's exactly what 3.5 is. It's all about proficiencies and feats.
Writers does say keep it backward compatible,
Mm-hmm.
and then one of the other letter writers said make it so that it's a standalone and it doesn't ever need to be added to. And that's a rock and a hard place there.
They say it is. It can't be 100% backward compatible, but he's trying to make it as backward compatible as possible, which I think is true. You can pretty much use 1E with 2E.
The modules that you've purchased, you should be able to.
Oh yeah,
tinker.
Oh yeah,
because the monsters in the Monsters Companion didn't change much. The stat lines didn't change.
It's not like
was
they
still there.
Yeah, it's not like they changed a lot.
The core, the basic core, yeah. I think just some of the classes and the skill levels and the different
just actual abilities and stuff. Yeah. He says, I think he really spells out that the stance and how has changed and how people are supposed to play the game. That people don't have to play the game the same way. You can pick and choose. Like that was the whole Gygax thing, was you have to play it a certain way. They're like, no, play it your way. They said that there's gonna be a standard tournament and optional rules so that you can choose which one you want to, like what level you want to play at, which never really happens.
I was gonna say I don't think I ever saw tournament.
I think there's optional rules. I think that happens, but there's definitely not, like they don't separate tournaments out of it. And he said optional rules will include weapons-based AC modifiers, create your own PC classes, spell casting times, proficiency, and components, and more. Spell casting times, proficiencies, and components are definitely in it, but I don't think there was create your own PC classes, and I don't remember weapon-based AC modifiers. Although we had another article mention that, and I was like, I've never even heard of that before. So,
I don't think they ever did.
No, I don't think it would. I think there's other role-playing games that do that. I think it's which one is it? One of them, anyways. It's like known for that. Like they have a whole list of every weapon and compared to every type of armor and how it affects it. And it's like, well, that's way too
that
deep.
wasn't like that for second edition for sure.
No, it wasn't like that for. It's another system. I can't remember which system it is. What else?
Anyone.
Could be anyone. No, it's only 64 pages. All 64 pages would be those charts. He does tease supplements for different character classes, like a fighter book. We know that happens. Like all the different character classes get their own book. He seems to want to group paladins under fighter, druids under clerics, illusionists under magic users, and bards under thieves. Some of that happens, some doesn't. I think
that all happens.
No, I don't think paladins run under fighters.
They're in the fighter. I think they're in the fighter's handbook.
They might be in the fighter's handbook, but not in the player's handbook. I'm pretty sure they're separate.
Oh.
But I think illusionists do end up being under magic users, I think, if I remember correctly. And he wanted to get rid of bards completely, but he's like, well, maybe I'll just put them in thieves. He wants to get rid of cavaliers and barbs. Not bards, barbs. Barbarians.
Cavaliers, as fresh as the driven snow, just arrived.
Murdered, yep.
This is the veal of role-playing of Dungeons & Dragons right now. The
barbarians and cavaliers definitely
both just came in Unearthed Arcana, yeah. But I think they both do come back in the Fighter's Handbook. They do
come back in the Fighter's Handbook for sure. Bards stayed in.
And he says he wants to keep it like as low as number of character classes as possible. And I'm like, well, he'd really hate later editions where there's thousands of character classes.
Well, those handbooks made it 1,000.
But
every book was with 10 different classes in
with 3.5 and they into Pathfinder, there is so many different things.
Oh Jesus! 3.5 is like create your own.
Well, that's Pathfinder, yeah. like there's so many different proficiencies and feats. You can modify people to be anything. So he says encourages old character classes and articles from Dragon to be used, which is very anti-Gygax. He plans to organize equipment by time period, which I thought was weird since it's a fantasy game. It should have nothing to do with time periods, and they never do that.
Yeah, and I'm glad.
That was
it's one
weird.
of those things that it's like.
I think they do that in the arms and equipment book. I think they separate them, but not in the actual handbook.
To separate them to be historically accurate, but not a mechanic, is an interesting take. But I don't think in a fantasy world you need to get too in the weeds with that.
Not one bit. You just need
you'd
to
never
class
be
it in
you'd
type
never
of
be
weapon.
together.
That's
Yeah,
it.
because people wouldn't be wearing plate mail and scale mail and chain mail at the same time. It'd be all
Right.
He wants to simplify combat, which I think happens. I think there is a bit more simplification, and he hates crits and hit locations, which
hit locations definitely don't come.
No, but I love crits, and it's even if
crits. I think
crits and fumbles, man, they have to be in every game.
Is an optional rule.
I think it is too.
I think crits is a rule, but fumbles is not. But either way, it's one of those things that it's those controlled big swings and big misses that make the game fun.
Yeah.
No, that sounds bad. That adds additional enjoyment, fun.
It's those points where you can just be like, I can't believe that just happened. That's you want those moments,
yes.
and it's not super rare, but it's pretty rare. So
I watch and listen to real play, and the amount of nat 20s they hit in one game is more than I've ever done in my lifetime. And I've been playing for 30
it's all their
years.
weighted dice they use.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
It's all scripted. It's all scripted crits.
For me, it would be one of those, especially in coming in clutch on a real bad situation. For me, it would be like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like it would make it would be a memory making event.
I think we've been playing on Roll20 a lot, and I think the one time I critted it was for initiative or something. I'm like, really? Like the one time you crit. But my favorite, I think I've told the story before, my favorite, in Jack's game you roll 2 dice, and one's kind of like a fate dice almost. And I critted and fumbled in the same roll. one was a 12 and one was a 1 in the same roll. So that was a fun little thing. I succeeded what I was doing, but it didn't. I think I lost my axe or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't how you intended to do it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's fun. That kind of stuff I love.
At least no one lost a finger.
Probably. That's happened many times. Yeah, that's my whole. That's the I have on this article. So.
Yeah, it was an interesting glimpse of what the future was for them, and what I was looking back at my memories of 20 years ago, 30 years ago when we were playing this game. Very, very interesting, and I think the game Lizards will be something that hopefully Rob doesn't poach from me every week.
Maybe. Last week was neither of us took it because it was something. I forget what it was about. Was it about new gamma worlds or something like that? And it was not something we were interested in. So, anyways, I like the background. This is the reason I like doing this show, is for this kind of stuff, the historical kind of, where it's just like in the moment things happening, and it's fun to see history happening.
There's plenty of people following along, watching this, listening to this, who are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah,
some of them have the magazines. I'm seeing posts where they're, hey, I've got the magazine in my hand. I'm like, oh, yeah. I wish I'd kept mine.
I know mine were so destroyed.
Though. Hindsight is hindsight.
Recycled mine. Yeah.
I read the hell out of those. They were tatters by the end when I threw them out. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, when I did throw some stuff away, I was like, I'm never going to need this again. Mm-hmm. Whoops.
Well, you don't need it again because it is online. It's really, you don't need it, Pat. I know you like your hoard. You don't need it.
I would love to have it, though. That's the thing.
Pat, you could probably buy the whole thing. Go on eBay. Look up all. I would actually be interested in how much people would charge for that.
It'd be more than $99, though.
Yeah, it would be more than I'm willing to.
Well, only for the. I bet later ones you probably get for a steal, but it's the early ones that'd be the expensive ones.
Pat and I are opposites in regards to physical things.
Yeah. Jack used to think I was the worst person possible for hoarding, and then he met Pat.
And I'm the sane one. Like I'm the reasonable one.
I wouldn't say that, but I think it's back
I
to
might
me.
err on the side of Spartan, but
Yeah. No, well, whatever. To each their own. Uh, I'm going to go to page 16. I think it's my turn because that was actually Pat's or Jack's article, not 16.
that was mine. So you are
18.
18, not 16. 16 is an
Well,
ad.
that's one of my articles.
What do you mean, Jack the Samurai? It's just so funny because we have a Jack right there. He's a samurai too, and it's just this really interesting thing you can jump into, Pat. But I really just want it was really useful for Oriental Adventures to have names, and this is it's you
That's
can
the way
roll
to
your
do it.
name or choose your names. It's really useful
Because for God's
not
sakes,
everybody
you're
can
not
be
gonna-
Akira.
Yeah, you're not going to be Jack the Samurai in my game for sure.
Well, Jack the Samurai was a lesser known Clutch song,
Yeah,
but it
unless
it
you're
is-
actually Samurai Jack.
Yes,
Ooh,
it's Marcus's cousin Jack.
that was two
Samurai Jack.
pop
yeah.
culture
Wow,
references that no one's gonna get in one like a heartbeat.
Samurai Jack, yeah. That's true.
Wow.
Wow, this guy who wrote this? Barbara Curtis.
Who wrote this?
Barbara, it's a gal.
Are you
Getty?
related to what's it? Darian Arndt? No, who is it? It's not Aronofsky. Who did Samurai Jack?
Getty.
Getty.
Huh? What? Getty? What?
Yeah, isn't that who?
Oh,
who does?
Tartarovsky or whatever his name is, right?
Oh, maybe it is. We'll have
It's
to
got
look
a
that
Russian
up.
name. I just can't remember what it is.
We'll have to look it up.
He
But I
did.
love Samurai
He
Jack.
did the original Clone Wars cartoon also,
Yeah.
which was pretty fun. Anyways,
I get my one. I mean, if you play Karator, this is definitely what you need as a GM when you're making characters.
Yeah.
But my one question is, because it's an extensive list of names,
yes.
not unnecessary, but extensive.
Extensive.
My question is, did she get all the names from a White Pages telephone book?
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Because we're talking 1987. There's no Google. There's
How did she get this many names? Yeah,
Did she ask somebody, hey, just dialed someone random in Japan, Tokyo, can you send me your White Pages so I can?
probably
Maybe
she might live.
She studied abroad.
Yeah, I was gonna say she probably.
Maybe she's stationed at an Air Force base in.
Maybe her husband is or wife is in the Navy.
Or
Yeah.
she could be a Navy brat too. Her mother could be Japanese for all we know.
That's true. Or
'cause her name's
she
Barbara
is
Curtis.
an ESL teacher.
Yeah. I
True.
wonder if there was so many ESL teachers who were in. I guess 87. By then, it was probably pretty common. Like now, everybody's known somebody who's like I know at least 3 people that are ESL teachers. So
Teachers somewhere. I know a lot more people in ESL in Korea now than I do in Japan.
yeah, I know a lot of Korean. I know some Japanese. Yeah, and in Malaysia, I know people. So, anyways,
If I was gonna be an ESL teacher, it would be Eugene Levy's character from Stripes.
I haven't seen Stripes in forever, but it was funny.
Okay.
He strikes one with Bill Murray, who
yeah.
when they sing
Yes.
the. Okay.
And they're stationed in Germany, but then they get sent out.
'Cause there's a lot of those. What's the one Goldie Hawn's in?
Oh yeah,
Private something.
Benjamin.
Private
Benjamin,
Benjamin.
Yeah. My apologies. My pop culture references were.
they're all probably about this
Getting around in
time.
there.
So, Jack, I think we're back to you. Do you have another article?
I'm tapped.
Yeah, you did 2 already, right? No, it's it Pat. Or to you?
Yep.
This was your article, yeah.
This is your article
I know.
that you stole from me.
Yep. So you have another one?
Now I have my last one.
Okay.
Page 40.
4D. I was hoping somebody would do this one.
The Geisha. It was an interesting NPC/PC class. While the Arthur, Mr. Greg Sharp, tried to make it a class like a derivative of being a bard in a sense, where they're musicians and artists, a performer, so to say. I think he really made the character sound more like an assassin derivative, though, because there was a lot of talk of weapons and poisons and things they could do.
I think that's if you want to play as a character, that's what. Otherwise, it's inappropriate.
and different skills that you can do and spells. It's like a lot of things that you could do to like an iron komodo is a spell that she can have, so she gets better armor class.
we're, we're establishing that it's a fantasy version of a real thing, and then from there you extrapolate this. You
Yeah.
have to start taking some liberties somewhere, and I
Well,
think,
no, I get it, but
Yeah.
then you should just call it an assassin derivative. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
whatever.
No,
It's his own thing.
it is. But he tries to make it sound like the sole purpose is just them to be artists and entertainers.
But maybe that's a juxtaposition. That's the Japanese way, is to show one thing on the outside but be something different under her.
Well, yeah, but then say on the outside
Why?
then
It's
on the
subtext.
inside they're there to kill someone. That's
Only
not my point. Just,
Pat wants all the
Because
subtext to be.
this is supposed to be a description of their
Supertext.
character. You're not supposed to juxtapose what the character is going to do.
I like
what
the
I'm saying?
artistic merit in the fact that he hid the fact that she's an assassin in this article.
So
I guess you can play her any way you like.
you
And we're
could.
saying her because I think geishas pretty much have to be girls.
Well, it doesn't. He actually says there are some guy geishas too.
Is there?
But he actually named. There's an actual
It's in a
name
fantasy world.
for.
it's fantasy. Yeah.
There's actual name for the ninja geisha. I think they call it Takahibi. So
I like
basically,
getting
it's
those
a
from
ninja.
7-Eleven. They're tasty.
No, I like it. Do you buy your sushi at 7-Eleven? That's gross.
No, I was thinking what's the Mexican.
Takis?
That's what I was thinking of. Anyways, yeah. So anytime there's a new character class, I love it. So
I do too. I mean, this is not bad in itself, but trust me, anyone who makes this character is 100% going to make this thing a hidden assassin thing.
maybe that's just your bias that you.
No.
That
Did you not read the spells and the weapons this thing can have?
Maybe I just want to entertain.
What do you need Flash Puff for? So you
to
can
make an
disappear?
entrance?
What do you need
How
a
do you
thump
get?
spell?
How do you walk into a room? I throw his flash.
She's
buff.
got a spell called Thump, which stuns you for 6 rounds.
Sometimes
So-
guys will get a little handy. Gotta
So-
push it back.
we're for the sake of playable character in a party, what her function would be if it was just as a traditional geisha would be absolutely useless. You would have to go with something. Pat saying an assassin, there might be a couple other options like bards or something like that, but for the most part you want to have a playable character.
Yeah, I mean everything.
Well, she's
that
not.
this-
She's an NPC technically.
technically, but it says PC.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like an NPC, you
Yeah.
could just
Like
have her
this-
as a geisha.
She's got a spell here called Jest, which if you are attacking that person, it incapacitates you with laughter, so you can't attack them anymore.
It's good. That's how you did. The girl's got to protect herself.
No, yeah, from when she's trying to kill someone.
Pat, you're really just obsessed with her being an assassin.
No, but-
I think
I
she's
think
just a
he's-
pretty
he's
lady.
envisioning his Oriental adventure character.
I know.
He's
What, are you
got a
saying-
mind like
Did you just say I'm picturing my mom when she was an assassin? No, not during World War II.
Oh, I think Freud has slipped it through again. Anyways, on that note, I'll go to my next article since Jack's out. We're going to go to page 66. I was like, Miss Marvel? That ain't no Miss Marvel I've ever met. It's because I don't recognize her in this form because she doesn't look like a giant thing. Because Miss Marvel is Rocky. She should be rock-like because that's who she is. She's Sharon Ventura from the Fantastic Four fame. And this, once again, is, I guess, before she got her rock form. And I never knew her name was Miss Marvel. I always knew her as just the rock thing. She thing.
No, I remember her as Miss Marvel from back in the day.
She thing.
There's been a few iterations of Miss Marvel, and this one was, I think, pretty popular.
When she was in rock form. Because she joins the
She was
Fantastic
in-
Four.
Rock form.
Somehow she gets the Thing's powers. That's all I know. And because Miss Marvel obviously is Kamala Khan, everybody knows that. But yeah, this must be the point where, at this point, I'm assuming Rogue has already taken Miss Marvel's powers, and she was stuck being powerless or as binary later. So this is
Captain Marvel's powers.
It was Miss Marvel. She wasn't Captain Marvel yet.
Yeah, she was.
Oh.
Carol Danvers
Carol
was Ms.
Danvers.
Marvel
Was Miss Marvel
Was
when Rogue did it?
in the comic book. Yeah,
And then they
But
did
she
this a lot of horrible. And then when she came back, she became Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Monica Rambeau is my Miss
Yes.
Marvel.
No,
or
she's Captain Marvel. Yeah, that's right.
Captain Marvel.
She's now
my
Photon
go-to
or
Danvers.
Spectrum, or she's got so many different
Carol
names.
Danvers wore 1,000 different hats.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of different Captain Marvels. There's a lot of different Miss Marvels, and this ain't one. This is she thing to me. But yeah, I didn't know who it was. That's at first. That's why I thought this article was interesting. But you guys are tapped out, right? So I'll have my last one's a nice quick one because this is a momentous event, guys. This is on page 72. I think it's actually on page 74. It's Wild Cards.
George
by
Martin,
by a little known guy named George R. Martin. He was the editor.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of short stories. It's a really good. If nobody's ever read them, there's like 30 books, and it's all short stories by all famous authors, like at the time, like super famous authors. And they created this world where in the 1940s aliens invaded and shot off this bomb that people were turned into superheroes. And either you were a ace, which you were like there's like I think 1% of them became aces, which were like real superheroes, like normal superheroes, and a ton of people were just killed, and then a ton of people became jokers, which were like more like mutants and like horribly mutated people. And then it's a alternate history from 1940s all the way to at the time present, going through all the different ages of in this world. It's a really good series if you never read it, and this is the very first book, Wild Cards, George R. R. Martin, and it's way before he did a little fantasy book that
George R. Martin.
he never finished.
Game of Thrones, but apparently he's working
Never heard
on
of
a
it.
Wild Cards movie right now.
Yeah, or a TV show I heard too. So a TV show would be perfect. But yeah, hopefully we'll see that in the future. But I thought that was funny. I like it when I'm seeing these books. I'm like, hey, that's a pretty famous book. A pretty famous person. We'll move on to no, never mind. In the TSR profiles, it was Robin Jenkins. It did have his signature, so it was Robert Jenkins. Pat was correct.
Robert Jenkins did what?
What page is the profiles?
Page 83, I should say.
And what was Pat correct about Robert Jenkins being?
Last issue, he wrote the guest editorial, and we couldn't figure out who it was. And Pat sleuthed it out.
Okay,
he sleuthed it out that it was Robin Jenkins, and this is proof because his signature is right there.
I don't want to alarm you, but last week I was drinking.
Yeah.
Robert Jenkins looks like the singer from Spandau Ballet.
Martin Kemp?
Whatever his name is.
Or one of the Kemp brothers, anyways.
You know what the best part was about the Spandau was, as opposed to the Bren? Where the Bren had the effilade and the epilade of the fire, the Spandau was very much like a staccato all over the place. It made a field of fire. And I believe is one of the most beautiful and best sounding machine guns that's ever lived.
Well, thank you for that, German historian. We're going to go to ads. Jack?
Did it sound like
That's what it sounded like when you got hit by it.
No, not the Spandau Ballet.
Well, the Spandau Ballet is what happens when you get hit by a Spandau. You start jerking around.
I did not expect the rebuff that I got with my Spandau machine gun talk.
You're on the wrong show again. You're not on the machine gun tome.
Yeah.
Jack, ad, please.
Jack ad. Let's Jack ad Harry. Let's go to page 38.
38 was one of mine too. Yeah.
Oh, that was mine.
Living Steel.
Oh. Well, what I have written down here, more like Living Style. Look at that font at the top. That is all the rage right now. That is people in boardrooms right now are trying to recreate this time. That has a cyberpunk look.
It looks like the lettering from Triumph, the band.
I would say that if you had a heavy metal band named Steel,
if you had a cassette from the 1980s, especially 87, this font was on it somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're pulling out your Judas Priest. You're like, oh, Painkiller. That's a great song. Oh, and I'm going to put in Living Steel now. Like
slightly scorpion-ish, slightly.
Yeah. But
It's
if
definitely
you
triumphy.
So you think there's
if
the
you
current font nostalgia is going towards this?
font nostalgia was the thing that made me look at this, because the picture, let's be honest, probably didn't live up to its original in the scan. But
The
what I
picture
can
still made
see
me stop.
is still for an ad. If you're flip, hey, let me
Yeah.
take a look. And yeah, it's about a planet named Greta who has some sort of very volatile situation going on, and
It's
there's a
Getra.
guy in full armor with a some sort of bazooka who's going to take care of
He's
business.
got like a steal. So I mean, in my notes, I wrote future RPG looks interesting, and then I was going to ask, did anyone play this? If you did, leave a comment.
I always remember the ads because they have a lot of these ads and they're always pretty cool looking. Powered armor game. What more do you want?
Yeah,
Really?
and this assault rifle looks like a spag.
It leading edge games has a lot of like modern combat games like guerrilla warfare and stuff like that. So I think they were really about the weapons. I bet they all knew about the Spandau, Jack. I bet these are your kind of guys.
That's good. That's good.
We're gonna get sued.
It does the since you mentioned it, the weapon at the bottom it's called the AR-8L assault rifle, but other than the front iron sight, doesn't look like anything like the ARs that we know, and I don't know where you would put the clip in, or the magazine,
Maybe it's
or
a laser. Maybe it's a laser AR.
That's what the L means. It's laser.
laser.
I wouldn't be
and
surprised.
the battery goes
Laser.
in the stock.
Because that stock's pretty. Today there'd be a bullpup with the magazine in the back.
Like a who makes those Sig Sauer?
Well, you put a little stank on that. I like that.
No, it's who's the other one?
It sounded like
It's
you
those Dutch companies.
It sounded like you ate a sour head. Sour.
I've paid women from Iceland just to talk to me like that. Ooh,
Pat, what's your first ad? Let's get out of here.
This was it. This is the only ad I had.
Jack, is this
tingles
your
in
only
the
ad too?
brain. Yes, sir.
Jesus, both you only had one ad. We're gonna go page
I
two.
follow the rules.
I honestly didn't think anyone.
I got like 10 I had that ad too, but page 2 because Ghostbusters RPG from West End Games. Look at all this fun stuff you get. You get a book that looks like it's
I left this because I knew you were going to pick
a cereal box. Come on.
Yep.
This looks like the funnest game on earth.
It says it's
Earth.
a living.
It's a living.
It can. That was the premise of the movie. Was
Yeah, they're
that
just blue collar guys. Yeah.
they're blue collar guys? It's a living, and then you go, well, it's like this fantastic, crazy thing that they're doing. Yeah,
Actually, is
the
this
point
the
was
movie
that
or is
it's
this the
their job.
cartoon?
It's
It
gotta
looks
be
like the movie
Look
to
at
me, yeah.
Yeah, look at the.
Because the little book, the second book on the left, looks like the cartoon.
Maybe it's a little of both. Maybe a little A,
And
a
I
little
think
B.
didn't the cartoon have that car?
I don't remember. I don't think I ever watched the cartoon.
The cartoon was out before Ghostbusters the movie.
No, that was the. Oh, you're thinking the Ghostbusters from this. No, that's a totally different company.
With the ape, there's a guy in a pork pie hat.
The real
there was an ape,
Ghostbusters
and there
versus
was
the Ghostbusters.
They changed it to the real Ghostbusters after
Because they got sued. Yeah, that was like from the 60s. No, that was totally different IP, Patrick.
Rob,
I understand, but
you can't just say someone got sued.
But
How do you say it when someone gets sued?
George Lucas is going to sue somebody.
Thank you.
But then I'm looking at the other pamphlet, and you can definitely see the three guys.
Yeah, no. It's Ghostbusters the movie. But anyways, that was one ad. Let's go to another ad on page 99. I'm amazed nobody picked this one. It's the Gazetteer series from D&D.
Both of these, I thought no one was going to take Living Steel. No one.
All three of us picked it.
That's why I would see somebody that they go, this one's going to be Rob. This one's going to be Jack. No one's going to take this one.
That's
But
why
this is
backups.
important. This one is historically important.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's a bunch of modules that also include whole worlds to adventure in. I think most of the Gazetteer ones were in Earth, weren't they?
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah, I think they were in
And Earth.
Yeah. But these were a whole series of modules. GAZ, as they were short formed. They're Gazzers.
They were modules, but they also very slowly expanded the lore of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a.
I think everyone had a huge map in it. Yeah, like they all had maps
and half like expanding out the.
If I seem to remember it, they were slightly generic too. That you could slide them into your own world too.
Well, they had like continents and stuff. You could use them whatever you wanted, but it was definitely supposed to be based in Earth, I believe, because that's the D&D setting. It's very important, like Jack said. I thought one of you would have picked it. I'm amazed you didn't. And last but not least for me is on page 9. Battle Force from BattleTech. We always have to mention BattleTech ones because I'm a little obsessed.
I left you that one for sure.
Battle Force is the precursor to what we do Alpha Strike nowadays. It's the simpler rules, so you can play a lot more mechs on the field. And but the thing that I really want to talk about this is that in the small print though it says join the Mech Force, and it's a FASA's it's their little fan club for MechWarrior. I was a member. You get a little.
Were you?
Yep, you get a little. You get a little magazine. And it was a good time. I think it was only a member for like a year.
I did not join the Mech Force.
I was a Mech Force member.
I'm a few months away from abandoning RPGs for a couple years.
I'm pretty sure I have the magazine still somewhere, probably, hopefully. But yeah, and fun times. But Battle Force, became Alpha Strike, which is my way to play because who needs to play that complex of a game of BattleTech anymore? I'm too old for that. No, you don't want that.
Sometimes
you don't want that, Pat.
Sometimes
you don't.
I'm
want
not
that.
saying all the time. Every once in a while, you gotta break out the frustration. You gotta
get those charts out.
You gotta get the charts.
Well, especially since there's about 20 books that add on to the game. So if you really wanted to play it full game,
you gotta plan a weekend.
Yeah, you want to play.
You gotta make sure people have a place to stay. That your larder's stocked.
You gotta get some heat sinks going.
Jack.
Not if you're a fucking clan member.
Oh, you did it. Let's go back to the beginning here. If you hate the
that's the one.
They're not a clan. They're Innisphere. Good try that. Jack.
The Atlas. That's the guy with the poking out of the eye hole.
You're right. You got that right.
Page what?
Page 1. We're back to the cover, guys.
Oh,
we're wrapping this thing up.
I thought this was an ad. I was like, why is this an ad?
Is Ratatouille mobile armor?
The rat? No.
Yeah, he's controlling somebody. I mean,
he's someone controlling someone encased in something.
He's not a mechanical being.
Why does it have to be mechanical?
We decided. We've had this discussion many times. We had this discussion.
Okay, this game has legs. I've tested it out. Yes.
Yeah, I like it, Jack.
I'll be on deck. I've got 2 games all written.
We'll have to do
got legs.
a 10th anniversary special. You'll be on it.
Rob's or Pat's vehement denial of one thing, and Rob's aghast at his thought process.
Don't make me deep dive our old episodes and find out where we had that debate.
All I know is that somehow Transformers are mechs, and that goes against everything. So,
I don't know why we let that go, but
I know that's my point. I was in shock when you guys let that go. I was like, okay,
who's the kid who rides around in the Transformers? What's that kid's name?
That's Spike? The thing. I think that's Spike. I think that's the point that we were like.
No,
Spike
I don't think
around.
so. I think we're all mechs. We're just brains in a mech suit.
Hey, I'm writing the game. I'm writing the game.
So shut your mouth.
If you want to listen to Mobile Arm Radio, please comment below, and we'll tell you where to find it. But like, share, and subscribe this podcast, and tell your friends. I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you enjoy our irreverency. We don't pretend to be experts.
No. If you've downloaded it to your Zune, you're thinking, "Hey, these guys are buffoons."
I had a Zune.
We need to do the Zune cast.
Zune tunes.
Anyways, who's operating this? We gotta get out of here.
Thank you for watching, and please do check out Mobile Armor Radio. Check out, I don't know, what else? That's all we do, the three of us. Check out our friends' podcast, Dead Zone the Podcast. Go for it. Family Gamer 777. Let's give some shout outs.
Even though it exists, don't shout us out.
Yeah, jerks. None of them have ads for us, bastards.
No.
I'm on both of them. I can do it if you want.
I thought we did a bumper for those guys.
What was that, Jack?
I'm on both of them. I'm the star of both of those, so
How
I can
dare
shout
you.
you out if you want.
How dare you pretend to be on other podcasts? Stolen valor. Anyways.
That was a strong word.
We're going to get out of here.
Stolen mediocrity.
We're losing control.
Stolen, not real much valor or worth.
Spinning out. Mayday.
I've been Rob.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Chopper.
Join us next week, and maybe we'll be less punchy.
Punchy. Well, it's the last show. I'm surprised Jack hasn't passed out yet.
Bye-bye.
Why?
He's perfectly fine. That was last week he was drinking.
I don't get drunk for a week.
Jesus. Well, sometimes
I do.
Bye-bye.